as we have been reiterating it time and again, for social good, for social change, and for social development. And this has been in light of various statistics, data, and the way the investment in sports is seen. We are not talking of absolute sports games as a game, or maybe as you know, we are not talking in terms of various championships, leagues, or sports as an industry. What we are talking of sports with its potential and power to promote social development. So in that line, and looking from the CSR perspective and angle, we want to leverage and accelerate the efforts to see that how sports as a means, not only for health and fitness, but for promotion of livelihood opportunities, career, employment, entrepreneurship development, how sports can be one of the vital means to support individual, youth, women empowerment, as well as community development at large. So with this whole idea of seeing sports as the, with the dismal investment from CSR and at the lowest of the pedestal to scaling up the interventions, not only by capacity building of NGOs, but working hand in hand with the CSR department, with the managers, with the corporates, industries, also the government and academia very closely, looking into the kind of potential that the university has in terms of youth programs. Most of the programs are coming through the national leadership and transformational leadership, I would say, by Narendra Modi ji, in terms of having a total turnaround, 360-degree turnaround in the way we are looking at sports in India. And with a series of initiatives, my founder, co-founder and member and all the other members would agree, the series of initiatives that we are having under the auspices of Vasundhara Blessings Foundation Trust, the entire effort is how we can have a continuous dialogue, basically to take up the advocacy series ahead, document this correspondence for policy persuasion, and take up the initiatives ahead in terms of strengthening the sports ecosystem. And when I say ecosystem, it is influencing the child, the family as a system, the schools, the interventions with respect to the focus of sports in the schools, and likewise at the district, state, and national level in terms of human capital development and human resource development at large. With these few words and a background to TCS India perspective, it is mentioned in our group objectives as well as in our WhatsApp group brief as a national social initiative. We continue to commit ourselves to the objectives of the Sports Collaborative India, not restricting it to a city, district, or a state, but trying to see that when we are having the concept of global development and in the spirit of sustainable development goal, promoting peace and development, how we can put aside our individual and institutional perspectives alone to impact at scale and geographies. And this is one IEC initiatives where looking into the economies of time, geography, scales, connection, how best we can use digital media, how best we can use information technology, and how best if we can have emails and e-magazines, why not we can have e-advocacy series to get the best inputs, connect with the best of the people, and learn directly from them in terms of inspiration to be drawn, in terms of directly from the people who have been influencing and making change as social change makers. So apart from several other series that we are having in terms of the panel discussion, in terms of the CSR and SDGs dialogue series, the leadership talk series is one of the new initiatives started. And if you closely look at the icon, I would like to acknowledge the efforts of our partner, Mr. Sudhir Solanke, Namaste India founder, who has been kind enough to be associated with the Sports Collaborative India. And if you visualize the icon that has been prepared, it is not just the mic. It is the mic for the leadership talk series, because it is not just speaking, it is talking, it is conversation, it is learning, it is exchange of information, and it is development, basically for policy persuasion. So within the mic, you will see the shivling third eye. And that is where this leadership is drawn for the leadership talk series. With this few brief and a brief on the leadership talk series, it is the third eye. It is the third eye, and we are all aware of this creator, sustainer, and the destroyer, Lord Shiva, Lord Shambhu. With these few words in a small prayer, Namo Namo Ji Shankara, He Shivaya Shankara, Namo Namo Ji Shankara, Bholenath Shankara, He Triloknath Dev, He Shivaya Shankara. With this divinity, the urge to serve and working in harmony is the entire objective. We are having this series of initiatives with, I would say, very competent, diversified, and enriched group that is associated with us. But due to lack of time and inability to join on these forums, we are having continuous one-to-one conversations with almost 110 plus members through the WhatsApp group. So once again, I welcome all the participants on this forum for this leadership talk series. And I'm very happy that we have with us three distinguished experts with us today. Our guest of honor, Mr. Sanjeev Kapoor, Chairman, the Sports Braille Limited. We are looking forward to have the leadership lessons learned today from Coach Dr. Rahul Sharma, I would say, resident in city of Ahmedabad, and with brilliant contributions in the field of sports entrepreneurship, towards coaching and training in cycling, running, and contributing to kids and youth development at large. We would like to listen from the horse's mouth, and followed by valedictory comments of our chief guest, none other than Mr. Bimal Kumar Chanda, who will be sharing his long-drawn experience from the Indian Navy and his experience as a sports person, the international president from Armed Sports Federation, and this entire perspective and worldview on linking sports with the social development and how we can take this mission and objectives ahead in terms of continuous advocacy series, and that one goal which the Prime Minister has taken in terms of building a culture of sports in India. And this could be yet another one small initiative, but that initiative, howsoever small, counts. And when it counts, we need to commit ourselves and contribute. With these few words, once again, I formally welcome all the dignitaries, my co-founder and esteemed founder, Vasundhara Blessings Trust, Dr. Sunita Pachar, all the Global Goodwill Ambassadors of TCS India, and our guest for the today. Over to you, Dr. Sunita Pachar, for your opening remarks.
Dr. Sunita, you are on mute.
Yeah. A hearty welcome all of you. It is an absolute pleasure and honor to introduce you all the chief guest, Bimal Kumar Chanda ji, guest of honor Sanjeev Kapoor ji, and speaker Dr. Rahul Sharma ji. We welcome you all on behalf of TCS India members.
Thank you.
Yeah. And we would like to thank you for accepting our invitation and gracing us with your blessings and with your knowledge. Your achievements in the field of sports are excellent, and your contribution raising the bar for future generations is truly noteworthy. So we are looking forward to hearing from you the wisdom of knowledge and your sharing your experiences and all. So over to you all. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, Dr. Sunita. Now, briefly, as I said, I will be talking about the leadership talk series. In between, in terms of the format, the leadership talk series, we talk about the third eye with reference to the invitation letters that have been sent to the dignitaries. We are talking of the third angle, and with this common angle, the six thinking hats by Edward de Bono, the forum here is just to have the spark ignited in terms of the small group discussions, and with a large correspondence. As a researcher, academician, and consultant, we look forward to advance as much as possible the correspondence which is required to the government corporate sector in terms of the idea behind these initiatives. So this is, I would say, just the tip of the iceberg, presence and discussion here, and a lot more would be done once the discussion and the talk is over. So the third eye, as I said, it is Unmesh and Nimesh. Right, the two eyes, when it is Unmesh, it is open. What we are seeing, what we are talking, what we are doing right now is the Unmesh. And we are very happy to have even one of the very leading stalwart, Mr. Unmesh Dikshit, with us, leading Ahmedabad Management Association. He's also associated with us as TCS India member. So the Unmesh is like regularly looking at the world. Children are glued to gadget, yes. Mithali Raj is ending the sporting career as a women cricketer, yes. So what do you do? And there is a T20 World Cup coming up or an international ODI coming up. Yes. So again, we rejoice very heavily as population, as you know, we're doing, India has one in the kind of the kind of feeling that we have, the universal power to connect, bind, and be inspired. Now, this kind of inspiration, we are looking forward for development intervention in sports, for helping our rural people, for doing something like Ms. Savita Raj has done by way of creating a Jhund, by way of the badminton player, Mr. Shrikant Kidambi, saying that I wish somebody prepares a movie inspired by the Thomas Cup. And this is what we need to, as as policy influencers, as advocates, social advocates, take up these issues, connect the dots, and wherever possible through our networks and through our contacts, approach the sports universities, government authorities, how best we can scale up the interventions by NGOs, as well as also see that we do not necessarily depend upon a national CSR exchange portal. We have inbuilt ties amongst the grassroots level NGOs, CSR departments, where we can have open interactions and take these things forward. So not taking much of your time, it is my absolute pleasure to introduce Mr. Sanjeev Kumar, our guest of honor today, a very experienced professional. And sir, we would like and request you to set the tone for this leadership talk by being a brilliant leader in the space of sports related media, electronic media, and wonderful updates from state to international level sports coverage. And we would like to hear from you, having given a brief introduction.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mona.
Just a minute, just a minute, sir. Yes, for our audience as well as our viewers, Mr. Sanjeev Kapoor as the chairman, Sports Grail Limited. He is also the director, affiliations and international advisor to SPA India, a chief mentor. He's the ambassador for Commonwealth Entrepreneur Club, has been awarded with the Lifetime Achievement Award by Vasundhara Blessings Foundation Trust. He's also featured in the World Book of Greatness 2021 itself as leading light of greatness in the world. He has been a chief advisory officer to several international NGOs, national NGOs, CSR organizations, and development organizations like EduDrone, Crescent Global, which is into the CSR space and consulting, ABCD International, Sportco, and Vasundhara Blessings Foundation Trust, amongst others. He has been a board member for UNACC and director, New Delhi, the Indian Chambers of Commerce in Slovak Republic, also the brand ambassador for Happiness Club. I'm not going into the details, but with this brief introduction, sir, we request you to throw light on the topic for this leadership talk, role and leadership in sports and sustainable development goals. And we have the right kind of keynote speaker, Ms. Geeta Rao, a sports person, women sports person herself, setting the tone, and a stalwart like Sunita Godara being our mentor. We are having just the right persons visiting our forums, TCS India, setting the right tone and giving us the blessings required to take up this initiatives ahead. Over to you, Sanjeev Kapoor ji. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Mona, for introducing a very small figure in a very big way. So I must say that you are very modest in and very humble in introducing me. First of all, when I was, about to enter into the Zoom room, I thought that how I will address the audience and what to talk about. And I think Dr. Mona, after naming our Mahadev, has set the tone that which I believe that the leaders are not born now. The leaders were born in the ancient ages. The three gurus who have created the universe, Brahma, Vishnu, and Mahesh, they are the great leaders who have led the teams of, the Devi Devtas and created this universe in a very beautiful manner. So I think it is our duty now to lead by example and be a good leader. First of all, a good human being, and then to be a good leader and show the different colors of leadership to the corporates, to the people, and to the society. I must confess that I am not a sportsman by profession. I have not having a career in sports, but yes, there was a story behind which has actually compelled me to be into the education and sports industry. So when Dr. Mona the other day has called me to brief on the flow of the introduction part to be given by me for 5-7 minutes. So I told Dr. Mona that I am always there and talked about the sports and talked about the policies, what has happened in the past, what is now required, the various recommendations, the various question and answers to be sent to the various forums, and the basic initiatives which has been taken by our Prime Minister, who was so close to our sportsmen that he even knows that what they like to eat, what they like, where they like to go, what is their family background, what is their family situation, what challenges they face. I think that is the real leadership which has been shown by Narendra Bhai, and giving a basic thrust and focus of our country to the sports as well as the normal national regional sports to be come forward. So I think I told Dr. Mona that why not I dwell upon a little bit about my journey, that what made me inspired to be a leader in the sports and education industry. First of all, for the benefit of others, I'm an engineer from Delhi College of Engineering. I did 2 MBAs from very prestigious universities like Delhi University and Mumbai University, and several certification and advanced programs for various universities and institutions in the world. I started my career when telecom was about to start into the country, and I joined the IT industry and served who's who of the industry, who are the great leaders. And to name a few of them, I worked with Ratan Tata ji, I worked with Azim Premji's group, I worked with Bhai Analjit Singh group, I worked with BK Modi's group. And I'm very proud to say that I was also the one of the the person who was involved in the launch of the cellular telephony in India. I was in the same team. Very proudly say that. So moved into the media and entertainment, moved into the high tech technology, moved into the investments, moved into the FMCG sector, and then finally, one fine day, I met Dr. Dev in one of the forums organized by ASSOCHAM, where I saw that he was so passionate about telling people about the sports and the way the sports can change the, yeah, and the slogan which he has written on the board, which says "Khelega India, Khelega India." So, which has really touched my heart that if everyone believes that hum already we are already a progressed country, we are already a developing countries and move towards a developed nation. So unless and until we all have a sportsman spirit, we all have a sportsman spirit of failing and succeeding again and again. Because a sportsman never succeed the first time. There is always a failure. One has to face the failure and then move into a success. That is the quality of a leader. A leader always learn from the failures, apply it, and then again reapply it and succeed finally. So I think that is the quality. I all credit goes to Dr. Dev, who has really made me transformed into the person to look into the education and sports industry very, very deeply. And secondly, my son, who was, although he did his engineering, but he has a lot of passion to write. So he excited me to move into the sports industry because he is running the leading digital media house in the world, which is called Sports Grail, which Dr. Mona has also mentioned, where I am there as a supervisory board member to help these people supervise and organize few things for them. So I think these two people have really touched my heart, and so I must say that for them I am not a leader. for me, they are the leaders who have transformed my life, who has really taught me that unless and until we have a sportsman spirit in ourselves, and we cannot succeed in life. And also my personal life, I have a severe health issues. So unless and until I have a real courage, I have a real determination, I have a real fighting spirit. So I think that is all about which sportsman has. So that has really given me a chance to be into the sports and education industry. I think I leave to the other speakers and enough time, because they are the learned people in this industry who are in and out in this industry from years together, to dwell upon the various challenges, various policies, various recommendations which has to come. So I think thank you very much for having me here. And last but not the least, I think I will invite you to join the forthcoming T10 Dominator Cup, which is being organized on 20th to 24th in Panchkula, Chandigarh, followed by an international conclave on sports and sustainable development in Mumbai in August. And also, we are the leading digital media partners with Dr. Sunita Godara right from day one. Whatever event she is doing, we are always there to support her. And a run which is organized, and then expo which is organized on 24th, 25th, and 26th in Jawaharlal Nehru Stadium and Delhi Expo to take a part. So I think that is the contribution we can do from our side to the sports, to the nation, and to the society. Thank you very much for having me here and giving me a patient hearing. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Very subtly touching upon the topic itself, to press to the Almighty and the leadership lessons from Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, to the national, making a mention of our, and I would say I'm not a Modi fan, but I through and through, day in and out, learn from this person, not only being our then chief minister, working so actively in the development sectors in the rural areas, like Karjan Taluka, homeopathy institutes, our dean in the faculty of social work, then where I was working, we have seen him visiting twice in a month these institutes to promote traditional medicine and health systems like homeopathy. This was then way back in 1995 to 2000, 2003. And to being a Prime Minister of India and winning everyone's heart, and while taking the oath, touching the red carpet, he has not only brought India to superpower as one of the leading nations, socially, economically, politically, with expertise in the foreign trade, foreign relations, and the kind of growth that we are seeing in terms of our economy. But the transformation that has been brought post 2013 and 14 in the arena of sports is tremendous. So just trying to adjusting our lens, particularly in the sports worldview. And as I have been reiterating time and again, our common connectors, Dr. Dev, myself and Dr. Sunita, much late have been associated as advisors to Sports Authority Association of India in whatever best individual and institutional capacity we are taking the motto for sports education promotion ahead in terms of our advisory, as well as a capacity of influencing NGOs, government organizations, as well as the corporate sector. And sir, your fond association and help for institutional capacity building in terms of contribution to sports media and the reverse leadership by your son and his team is very well taken in terms of the message for the day, and how we can learn from people above us, below us, to strengthen them, and leadership basically in terms of preparing social change makers who can use this cost-effective tool, not just turning one talent across a village, but trying to tap all that talent that exists. Just as the way we are talking of universalization of education, we speak of universalization of sports as a means to better the education. And this whole idea of sports and sustainable development, each of your ideas, remarks, your experiential sharing in terms of your contributions at the national level to the corporate sector industry, we thank you so much for your kind words, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, we now look forward to our keynote speaker's address. And personally, I'm very happy to invite Dr. Rahul Sharma, Yesterday itself, we have seen a message and the kind of achievement that has been accredited, and in terms of building further potential to have better sports, better races, not only at the state level, but internationally, and having internationally well-managed races and being certified as international race director is just one of the several accolades that we can salute to our coach, Dr. Rahul Sharma. Rahul Sharma is incidentally also my younger brother's name, and I have had a very short association with Mr. Rahul Sharma. But hats off to his contributions. I would say beginning his career in the corporate sector as a sales and marketing professional to tremendous contribution to the corporate sector, having closely worked with Mr. P.K. Rajput, one of our senior members with Zydus. Rahul, if you can correct.
Cadila Pharma.
Cadila. Sorry, yeah, Cadila Pharmaceuticals, to the recently held Pharma Cricket League, where Mr. Rahul was associated, and he was also there with his distinguished presence, supporting the kind of spirit benefits that sports can bring even to a corporate culture and team. To quickly, I would run on his biodata, and we are very pleased, and with pleasure we invite you, sir, to this forum. We would like to listen from you and this journey, the leadership lessons, which will set the tone for leadership talk series. We want the leaders to speak, we want conversations to take place, and we want this continuous dialogue to go on and on till the time we find every child, every school utilizing this potential. We are seeing very number of principles dormant. Wherever there is an active principles, we are seeing active leadership in sports. And this we have heard from many principals in the kind of conversations we have in capacity building workshops with schools. So we would like to hear from you, but just for the benefit of the audience, I would like to read the profile, which is an inspiration to read and to learn from the kind of journey that Mr. Rahul has had. So a brief about coach Dr. Rahul Sharma, founder, Siren Sports and Wellness. He writes, sometimes in life we need a shock. This shock, this jolt is a wake-up call to get us doing something different. We could be living a successful life. We could have a job that brings in good money, and we could believe everything is on track for a happy existence. This was the case with him, he says, when he got diagnosed with high cholesterol, hypertension, and put his life on medicine at some point in time in his life. Now the quest to be healthy and off medicine was what led him to running and culminating into his very nature, like breathing itself. Eating, sleeping, running was very natural to him, just as running. Ultimately, his passion for health, fitness, led him to becoming the certified running trainer, a nutritionist, leaving behind his 21 years of corporate life and venturing into the space of health and fitness. Once again, for all the esteemed members, we are very happy to introduce the coach, Dr. Rahul Sharma, a UE SCA certified running coach, IAAF certified coach, impact certification for cross training. He has been certified fitness nutrition coach, Oxygen Advantage certified trainer, a certified HRV professional, Red Cross first aid with CPR certified. He's having a diploma in sports exercise nutrition, Muller certificate in kinesiology, taping technique, diploma in pharmacy, BSc in life sciences, MBA, PhD in sports management, with over more than 2+ decades of experience in the health, sports, and wellness industry. He's been a Fit India ambassador, as you can see in our poster and creative, a record holder for the World Book of Records UK, for the first time to run from Sabarmati Ashram to Dandi with a distance of almost 385 kilometers. He holds the World Book of Records UK for conducting the biggest virtual run in India on 15th of August 2020 as the Indian Running Day. He's been awarded as the SCA USA Global Running Coach of the Month, which is remarkable. Successfully completed 4 world marathon majors, New York, Chicago, Berlin, and London. Comrades Ultra Marathon 2019, and first from Gujarat to complete Khardungla Challenge, world's highest ultra marathon, which is 72 kilometers. The list is endless. I will be sharing with our TCS India group on our WhatsApp group. But the point I want to share is that we are really privileged, sir, to have you as first speaker from the city of Ahmedabad, from the state of Gujarat, and setting the right tone for this leadership talk. Over to you, sir, not taking much time. Once again, a big thank you, sincere gratitude from Team TCS India. Over to you, Dr. Rahul Sharma.
A very good evening to everyone. And first of all, thank you very much, Dr. Mona, for such a wonderful introduction, such a elaborate. Yes, when you are on a passion, you do things differently. So first of all, let me just thank the Sports Collaborative India team for inviting me here for a keynote address. And I would like to say thanks to our chief guest, Bimal sir, and the guest of honor, Sanjeev sir. It's so great to learn from all of you. And I would also like to thank the TCS India founder team, Dr. Devendra, Dr. Mona, Dr. Sunita, Dr. Anil, and Sudhiji for creating a platform which is helping and creating a dialogue for these sustainable development goals. So let me just start with the introduction of the topic, which is leadership and the role of sports. So as we hear that leadership is about giving a leader, and in my learning of around 21 years into a pharmaceutical industry where I worked in a corporate life, and after that I switched over to the sports. What I learned is that leadership is all about setting the examples, sometimes taking tough decisions which are not favorable, but yes, at the end it is all about creating new leaders. So if I want to put it into one word, leadership is all about creating new leaders. So when the sports is such a interesting thing that the leadership of that is all about creating a new leaders. Now, coming to this role of the sports into the sustainable development goals, what is the kind of a connection? Now, when the United Nations prepared the Millennium Development Goal, and after that they went into the Sustainable Development Goal, there are 17 different goals which they looked into, along with 169 sub goals which they worked on. So this was very interesting. And if you go through each and every role, they looked into various aspects world over, and then they the whole team sat together and developed these goals for 2030. But what is one common thing which connects all these 17 goals? If you name the one thing which connects all, is the sports. Sports is the only thing which can connect all these 17 goals, and I'll be sharing with you how this sustainable development goals and sports is getting connected with all these 17 goals. So that's something which is which we look into. Before getting into that, let me just take you through our old time, right? How the life has been very, 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 if you look into our parents' time, they have, they are very good in terms of sustainable things, because they reuse things, right? They rework on the things. And all of you can get an example, like if you have one cloth, if it got torn, it can be used into a very different way, right? Similarly, about the food, we don't, we utilize the food into a very, very unique way. So all of you can put those examples into your mind, that how your parents and how the the previous generation has been doing about the sustainability. Sustainability is not something which is a big word and we need to come all together and work and create something big. It is a very, very small steps which each of us as an individual can take, right, to make it more and more sustainable. Because each of one, if we are reworking, reutilizing the things, we are making things more and more sustainable. It is not a one-time kind of a thing, you just use it one time and throw it, because that doesn't make it sustainable. But each of us individual can make things sustainable, like even using a plastic bottles. Like plastic we cannot use, but if we have a reusable bottles, right, we can use it for multiple period of time. That makes it the usage much more higher. So the today's topic about the role of the sports and sustainable development goal. we will talk about the very first sustainable goal, which is the no poverty, right? The first goal is no poverty. Now, when United Nations talks about the sports and the sustainable goal, they also speak, I would just like to read out from uh, their points, which says, sports is also an important enabler of sustainable development. We recognize the growing contribution of sport to the realization of development and peace in its promotion of tolerance and respect, and the contribution it makes to the empowerment of the women and the young people, individuals and communities, as well as to the health, education, and the social inclusion objectives. So this is what the United Nations always says. Now, when we say sports is an enabler, it is a very flexible tool. When I said that it is able to address all the 17 goals. So if somebody wants to, do one thing, sports is the one thing which will help us in all attaining all the 17 goals. Okay. So one of the tool is the sports which connects. So when we talk about no poverty, right? Sports gives us a scene of a fair competition, and sports also tells us about the equal sharing of the resources. Now, when this fair competition and equal sharing of the resources happens, we always consider about each other. And when the people who are into the sports, and particularly United Nations says about the youth and the women, right? These are the two words which they always bring it when they talk about the sports into the sustainable development goals. So when we have a fair competition, when we are sharing the resources, what we are trying to do is we become a very evolved kind of a society. Now, when we look into the entire world, there is an inequality across. So how do we bring about, how do we reduce the poverty? By reducing the poverty, we need to share the resources, and share the resources in the manner of a sustainable way of sharing the resources. So sports can help, like for an example, if we take one event like marathon or a running event where we all are running, sports, everybody is running. At the start point, there is no difference between anybody, whether you are a CEO of a company or you are, just a small time guy. In terms of economic inequality, I'm talking about. So N. Chandrasekhara, who's the Tata chairman, he says, when I stand at the start line of a marathon, right? I just there is no difference between that. I am such a big guy. I am heading such a big corporation of billions of dollars, right? And the guy next to me is a janitor, right? So he's doing some other kind of a work. So there is no differentiation. So sports is something which brings out that kind of inequality, which is our fifth, goal of the gender equality and the other sustainable development goal, which I'll come to it a little later. But it definitely helps in terms of sharing of the resources and eradicating of the poverty. And how we come to it into the different sustainable goals. The second important is goal of sustainable development is a zero hunger. By 2030, we should be in a zero hunger. And I would like to share with you, when we mobilize the resources in both the financial and in kind. So sports is one activity where we can be able to mobilize those resources to eradicate the hunger. One of our own initiative and one of my own personal NGO is Run to Feed Foundation, right? What we do is you run, you burn your calories, right? And you give these calories to our calorie bank. We convert those calories into the food, and we deliver it to the kids, those who are underprivileged kids. So the idea is, you take an idea into a sports, you connect it with the sustainable development goal, and then make it a point that it reach out to the people. And for everybody wants to do good in the life. That's what I personally believe, that every person has that good person in them. And what they need to do is, we need to just bring that good person out. And how to bring that good person out is giving them a tool to do good, right? Sometimes we want to do good, but we don't have a tool to do the good. And that's make all the, we are not able to do as much as we wanted to do. So if you create a tool, an honest tool, an honest attempt, and you present that tool, the person, do the needful. So activity like sports, which involves a person. Sport doesn't mean only the competition which is happening in the Olympics for the gold, silver, and the bronze medal. It is not like that. Sports is we are all born as a sports person, right? And meaning thereby, if we look into our growth over a period of years, if we take the evolution part, we are all from the African savanna where we are running. So running has supported us in terms of surviving us. So when we talk about this zero hunger, coming back to the sustainable development goal, the running or any kind of a sports can do a lot in terms of bringing people together onto a platform to address the clear sustainable development goal issues. Right. Coming to the third point, which is third goal, which is a good health and a well-being. Now, WHO says that physical inactivity is the fourth largest killer in terms of mortality. Right. So now when we look into physical inactivity, and if you talk about here, you wanted to do a sports. So people think, now what is my age to do? Sports has got nothing to do with the age. That's what we need to communicate to the people. Everybody can do some kind of a walking, some kind of a workouts, which will help. And how it can be, we will be able to do a lot into this is, like for an example, obesity. Now, at one point, one place in the world, there is a poverty or a hunger or a malnutrition. And on the other side, there is an obesity. So there is an imbalance which is happening world over. We need to balance that out. And for balancing that out, we need to bring sports into the life of everybody, right? And that doesn't mean that, you need to go and do a competition. But yes, you can do with a very, very small things, small initiatives, just like a community-based activity, a society-based activity in your society, in your friend circle. Do something where it directly affects your health. And please understand, good health and well-being is not only related to the physical body, it is also related to the mental body. Because when you do a physical workouts, when you go out in the morning and do your walk, you are not only, sending a signal to your brain, right? And with the release of endorphin, when we run, we sweat and we release endorphin, which is a feel-good hormones. They help us in terms of, getting us our clarity, the mental clarity, better thinking. Once you have a better thinking, you do better things, right? So it has been seen in the various conflict areas, like where there is a war, there are refugees, and when these people have been brought with the sports, they are better able to cope up mentally with the trauma which they have undergone of being a refugee or in a war-torn country. So one of the things which is happening right now in Ukraine and Russia, there is a huge war. So one thing which can connect them at this point of time, which not connect them, but help people to go through this tough phase, is some kind of a sports and a physical activities to have their mental, because once you are doing any kind of physical activity, you are mentally and physically involved into that. So that's the third sustainable development goal which we can address through the sports. Coming to the fourth goal of quality education. Now, right to education is the most essential right. And before that, Sheila Iyer was there, but now she is not there in that. She is a part of one organization which is known as LOLT, Light of Life Trust. Now, this organization is an NGO which works into the education into the very rural of Maharashtra and the Rajasthan area. And we have done one project with them. My company Sirens has done a project with them where we have touched base around 7,500 people across both the states. And we did one virtual run for LOLT, Light of Life Trust, Run for Education. Now, what we have done is from the villages, from the different very interior parts of the Rajasthan and Maharashtra, we brought kids, people together with their, obviously they have their own people stationed there. They help in terms of bringing that kind of a mass movement. And they all ran on a particular day in February. We had a January and 29th, 30th January, we had that run. So all these kids ran. We gave them certificates. So one important factor also, including that sports and the technology into reaching out to the masses. Now, technological enhancement is a very, very important key factor when we are trying to, bring those sustainable development goals and addressing those goals through that. So this is a real life example which I'm sharing with you, that we have done this, and such a beautiful, kids are so excited about the sports. Okay, we are going to run 2 kilometer, 5 kilometer, but look at when they get such kind of and we are sitting in a metro cities, we are not able to reach out to those kids. But how do we reach out to that last point of delivery? It is only possible through the technology and the IT services. So Sanjeev sir was saying that, he has been into the mobile telephony. So thanks to you, sir, for, bringing all those technologies together to help us reach out to this, because when we wanted to do something big, we need a big initiative, a big steps into those direction. Another is, I want every one of you to see the movie Purna. Purna is a girl who scaled Everest from Andhra, right? And she has been a 13-year-old girl, how from the poverty she has come to that school, how she has been able to, how the sports has changed her life. These are the real life example, and we need to promote. But unfortunately, these kinds of good movies doesn't get so much of the screen time and not reach to the masses. But that's where we need to, as an enabler, as a leader, we need to, put that to the work. Now, coming to the fifth goal of the gender equality. Gender equality, we go to even 20, 30 years back, it was not so much. Even now we are thinking about, after 12 years of IPL, now we are thinking about a women IPL in the 13th year. So still, where is the gender equality? Still, this self-esteem and the confidence of the women. Why not we had a IPL from the first or the second year for the women? Because still we are not evolved. But yes, definitely there is a thought, there is the things which are going on which will help. So now this, even I don't know what will be the BCCI things in that, but I want that the women IPL should have the same set of prize money, which is there, 20 crore rupees for the winner. I don't know how much they're going to put it up, but that's where we need to give through a strong messages. Now, I being from an industry where we do running marathons, so now it's given, okay, women and men will get an equal prize. There is absolutely no difference, because earlier women used to get less prizes. Some 10 years back, women used to get less prizes compared to men in terms of when they run. So now we ensure, because it helps us in creating a better gender relations, because we are not discriminating, right? So we need to avoid this kind of a thing, and this need to be inculcated from the childhood itself, right? So marathon and the cricket example is a good example where we can, look into this gender inequality. Sixth goal is clean water and sanitation. How does the sports can get associated with the clean water and sanitation? Please understand, sports is a very flexible tool. It can give you a direct, or it can help you. It's a kind of a tool which can help take the message across. So when we talk about the clean water and sanitation, there are a lot of efforts, a lot of runs which are happening, like run for rivers, for river rejuvenation. We have an ocean run, and we have a Dr. Rajesh Sarvania sir here, and he is creating now something very big, which is Ganga Sustainability Run. So Ganga Sustainability Run is, for the entire rejuvenation of the Ganga, and he is been, taking this ahead and creating that kind of a mass movement, a level of international intervention, where the people will come from across the world and see and get associated with this Ganga Sustainability Run. So on this 9th of October, Dr. Rajesh, who is the chairman of the run, will be conducting this beautiful run, and I hope every one of you can join this run and help those sustainable goals. Recently, he's a founder of Vivekanand Youth Connect Foundation, and he has done a Vivekanand Sustainability Summit also recently in the month of April in New Delhi, which was attended by Shri Nitin Gadkari ji and inaugurated by him. So he is also doing a lot of work. So we need to also collaborate, right? We need to collaborate all those people who have got the same intention, who have got the same kind of thought process, to work together to create more sustainable, because everybody is doing some or the other work. But if we do it together, we can make it much more better. right? So that's the sixth goal. Coming to the seventh goal, which is affordable and the clean energy. Now, we need to create all the things which are energy efficient. Now, infrastructure. Sports require an infrastructure, a different kind of infrastructure. I have traveled all across the world, from US to Europe to Africa to China. Once you look into the sports infrastructure, it requires a lot of energy demand. How can we make those sports infrastructure energy efficient, where we have a minimal amount of energy consumption? How can we make them as a clean energy requirement? So it's a very interesting fact that, you know, our approach and the sports, relating that with the sports, will help us in terms of, you know, connecting that sustainable development goal. Now, another eighth goal we are talking is a decent work and the economic growth. Now, sports as an industry has been growing rapidly. And now, obviously, everybody previously has talked about Shri Narendra, our Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji, that he has done a lot of things like Fit India movement, Khelo India, youth game, university games, senior games, Khelo India. Previous to that, but we also need to look into the kind of money which we put in. The total sports budget of India now is 2,800 crores, which is nothing, because one IPL team gets sold in 5,600 crore, right? And another team sold. So there is an inequality. We do a lakhs of crore rupees in terms of subsidizing various things, because the country has got a different set of requirements. But there is a lot need to be done from the government in terms of providing an infrastructure to the sports, helping people to go, like, for example, creating more community spaces, parks where people can go and do the workout. I'm very happy to see in our city as well as in Delhi, I've seen that there are a lot of parks where they have an open gym concept, which is something which at least you provide the infrastructure, right? Which is not a big maintenance kind of a stuff. People go there, they do. And I am very happy to see that when I go to Ahmedabad in my Gotila garden, and I see that people are using those infrastructure, open gyms. So that's something, you give them a tool, and then they let it helps for leading a healthy life and the sports. So even decent work and the economic growth, which is our eighth goal. When we grow the industry, there are many employability, lot of requirements comes up, where people can get involved, then where the people can get their, attach with the industry and get serve that industry and earn a decent livelihood, so that they can get out of the poverty. So our first goal, no poverty, can be helped through a sports by creating more infrastructure, by giving them those employee opportunity and the other stuff. Coming to the ninth goal, which is the industry innovation and the infrastructure. Now, when I have spoken a little more about it in the previous, that we need an infrastructure, but there are a lot of things like sports tourism, right? Now we need to create at a different places. Now I'll give you a couple of examples. Like there is one city in Satara in Maharashtra. So Satara 10 years back started with a 1 marathon. Right, it is just a simple half marathon which they started, but they persist on that. Today, Satara city, people, if I ask any one of you, okay, you want to go and visit Satara, nobody would like to go visit Satara. Why they wanted to go? But because that sports has come to the Satara, every year 6,000 to 7,000 of the people wait to enroll for that run, and these tickets, 6,000 tickets, get sold out in just 3 to 4 hours. And these 6,000 people, when they will be going to Satara, they will be requiring a stay, they will be buying something, they will be eating the food. So the whole economy can grow up. This is an Indian example. And let me give you an international example of New York Marathon. I've been to New York Marathon. New York Marathon, the economic impact is $500 million on the city. Meaning thereby those 20,000 international runners and 30,000 local runners from the different states of US travel to, during the race weekend, to the New York. They go there, they stays in the hotel, they buy a lot of stuff from New York. I bought a lot of stuff when I went there, right? They do a lot of shopping, they eat out, they party out after the run. So there is a huge economic impact of the sports into the cities. How can we bring that to the different levels? Like, for example, if you wanted to, develop some kind of a, maybe some rural kind of a marathon, something like that, some sport, like we have a cricket stadium in Dharamshala, right? If we give, and then we have something in Leh Ladakh, a marathon in Leh Ladakh, and like Ganga Sustainability Run. So these all are the great examples where we can create a kind of a sports movement, right? Which will help in terms of through the innovation. Definitely the industry, sports industry, through the innovation can create an infrastructure and help people to live a decent life and coming out of the poverty and attaining our sustainability development goal. Coming to the 10th goal, which is a reduce inequalities. So Olympic as a movement has been a great movement, although there were a lot of times there was a questions and individual cases where there are some issues, but overall to reduce inequality, Olympics has been a great tool. Everybody looks into that, or the games, or the Asiad Games, or a Commonwealth Games, where we come from a different countries all put together, they do that. So basically sports celebrate the diversity. Unlike any other function, sports celebrate the diversity, which is not like that in any other tool. So what I like the best about when I run, it doesn't matter who is running alongside with me. We are all one. So that equality, that, that reducing, if somebody is, suffering, I will be the first person next to him. I will be supporting him. If I'm suffering, somebody else will be supporting. So this is the tool which celebrate the diversity. Even if you look into any international games, the sportsman spirit which we say, it also comes when you play, you lose, then again you win, you lose, and then that life is all about winning and losing. It is not about winning, right? So that mentality is only been possible with the sports. Coming to development of 11th goal of sustainable cities and the communities. You see that Paralympics are there, right? Where we celebrate the different ability which they have, right? So, and then the sustainable cities, like I've said earlier also that, those goals where, like we have in Ahmedabad Gift City, which is Gandhinagar International Financial City. So in that, they have a complete sustainable model. They don't have, the dustbins are all electronically monitored. There is a various waste disposal is on a very, very high different level. So we need to create those kind of a smart cities, like that initiative of Government of India of developing those smart cities where we have a sustainable kind of, infrastructure being put up, segregation of the waste. All these comes into the sustainability, that how we are able to utilize or how we are able to reutilize the stuff into our thing. So these are the various things which sustainable cities and bringing those communities together, creating a kind of a sustainable thing, and giving that to the child. I would also like to say that here the schools, the colleges need to bring more and more about these sustainability issues. The 12th goal is responsible consumption and production. So we need to look into that whatever we are doing, we are being responsible for it. Like we are not wasting the stuff. Sometimes we see that there is a because I'll give you one fact that it only takes 209 days to consume all the resources which Earth produce in a year, and that days are reducing. So we have 365 days to consume the resources which the Earth produce in a year, but we all consume it in just 209 days. So we are withdrawing for more than 160 days or 56 days extra. We are withdrawing from the Earth. We are not giving it back. So we are running in a debt. And how long we can run into this debt? It's not possible that it is forever. Now, in the Antarctica, we are finding plastic articles. If you go to the sea, we have a pollution. Everywhere it is there. Where are we going to live like this? Maybe our generation is able to survive. But what about the next generation? What about the next to next generation? They will suffer and then they will curse, right? They will curse. We have not done anything. So let us be open about it. Sports is the most important thing. We can bring all the people together to on the common platform and make them understand about the responsible consumption and production, right? So that we have a sustainable long-term life for not only for us, for the generations to come. Coming to the climate action. Now, a lot of been talked about climate actions. There is the sports is the greatest tool to create an awareness, right? We can have something like sustainable sports tourism. We can have something like a beach games where we talk about what you are coming here is about helping those things, bring those into mind, bring those priority in the top of your mind, so helping you to create those awareness campaigns, connecting the people and helping them in terms of achieving our climate action. And that's why today we see what kind of an erratic weather we are living in. Sometimes it's heat, so we are 47, 48, 49 degrees Celsius. When it's rain, it rains like hell. Then there is a so there is an extreme weather conditions which we are all suffering, which need to be bring down to. It has not changed in the last, in the previous 100 years. There was not much of the change, but because we are withdrawing too much from the earth, not making it sustainable, we have lost our ways from our ancient, because previous generation were still a little closer to the nature and little closer to the sustainable way of living. They reuse things a lot, which we don't. Now, I don't remember we are reusing a lot of stuff, but which we need to bring that practices back. These are not bad. It is not the modernization, but the sports help us into that realization, that mindset to bring that climate action. So that awareness, sports is the best medium. Everybody looks to have either watch the sports or be a part of the sports, so we can promote that as there. Now, the 14th goal is the life below the water. I'll give you an example. So Nike has done, they collect the plastic from the sea, and they are now making the shoes out of those plastic, which has been collected from the net of the fishing nets and all those stuff which they collect from the sea. And they're trying to, recycle them and make them. So we need to also look into, there is a much more life which is below the water. 70% of the earth is covered in the water. There is a lot of life, and our life on the land is sustainable because there is a life in the water. A lot of people's livelihood depends upon that. So the sports, which can be in terms of beach games, in terms of bringing out the waste and recycling that, creating that awareness. There is an ocean run. So all these can be able to bring people together and make them aware about it. Right now, there is a sustainable way of developing T-shirts and all those. So we can do a lot of stuff in terms of, rather than going into the other things, arranging that sports, creating that awareness, and bringing that out. Similarly, the 15th one is the life on the land. And it's all about the preservation. When we are talking about creating a sports infrastructure, if we are trying to create a sports event, why not we associate them with a good cause? Marathons are the largest fundraisers in the world over, right? World over, it is the largest fundraisers. And Tata Mumbai Marathon, if I can give an example, over a period of 12 years, they have raised a fund of around 200 crore rupees, right, for the charities. So the sports definitely connect the people, and that we need to bring the life on the land, preservation, making an infrastructure which is preserving, energy efficient, and helps us in terms of developing the sports. Coming to the peace, justice, and the strong institution. Now, it's a strong institutes like any sports institute, or in terms of giving a justice. And as I said, if it is a war-torn country, or it is a country with the, there are refugees, we bring them. And in the Olympics, if you are a refugees, or if the country is not there, you can compete into a different flag. So everybody in the sports get an equal opportunity, even in the Olympics. Even if you are not from a country, if you are a refugee, you can compete under the refugee. So that's what is the sports uniqueness. It helps you to reach out, it helps you to support you. And that's what we need to bring, that peace and justice. And that's what the United Nations also says when they talk about sustainable development goals through the sports, that it is about the peace and development, these two things, and youth and women. So these four things, they emphasize again and again that the sports need to work on. And last sustainable goal is partnership for the goals. Obviously, we all like-minded people need to come together. As a sports, it's all about partnership. It is not about me. It is all about us, right? We are competing, right? Even after if we are competing one-to-one also, at the end, we shake hand. Even if you have seen any tennis match, after the match is over, they both shake hand and they become friends, even in a cricket also. So the competition is there, which is good. It is there in the field, but outside the field, it is all about the partnership and partnership for achievement of the goals and developing sports. And sports is a beautiful link. Sport is a link. Please understand, sports is the only link which can help us in terms of connecting people, irrespective of their age, their sex, their gender, their ethnicity, their origin, their sexual orientation, their gender identity, their religion, anything. Sport is a link which breaks all those barriers. So let's work on those sports and help in terms of building those, sports, the role of the sports, and developing those sustainable development goals, achieving all these 17 goals, and bringing people together to deliver a better tomorrow for all of us and for our generations to come. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Rahul, for doing justice, I would say, in 20 minutes to 17 goals, which would otherwise require almost a 1 to 2 hour lecture, and very subtly with classic examples from grassroots level initiatives, from poverty as the first sustainable development goal to your classic examples from Maharashtra, Run for Education, constructive role of the media in terms of Parna's movie, and then how the sporting events need to be more sustainable, the kind of responsible consumption, not only by industrial sector at large, but even the international sporting events, given the kind of resources that are being consumed. I would say the justice has been done not only in the content, but also the contextual perspective that you have established, and also trying to commit ourselves further, as the TCS India basic objective is goal number 16 and 17. Partnership for peace, justice, and building strong institutions, and partnership for the goals. And this is where these collective and collaborative efforts count, not taking much on the time, looking at the clock and the time to follow. Very hearty, sincere gratitude on behalf of all the members. And so we look forward to having more such sessions. These are very enlightened in terms of the kind of information, knowledge that is being shared, and a very constructive role that could be played. We are having a Run for Drug Abuse program by Ms. Godara in Lodi Garden. We are having several Run for Drug Abuse program here by our very own Harsh Sanghvi in the city of Surat. So again, why not we are having NGOs coming forward in villages, having these programs just as the way we have enrollment drive in the schools. So a lot to debate, discuss, and get the NGOs, development organizations, with their compassion and the passion of the corporate sector to support them with the financial resources, technical resources, the help that is required to handhold the NGOs. That is the kind of effort that is required. Once again, big thanks for you for your kind consent to being with us, and for really sharing the lessons very subtly, very quickly, and with justice to the time given to you. Thank you so much, sir, for being with us.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
Yeah. I now request Mr. Madan Mohan, who has been our chief guest has been very kind and patiently waiting for his valedictory address. I had requested myself, Honorable Bimal Kumar Chanda ji, to speak as a valedictory note speaker, so that we are able to connect the dots from the guest of honor remarks in terms of setting the tone of the importance of sports as a cost-effective tool, and from my and Dr. Sunita's perspective in terms of how we can escalate and accelerate the development interventions part of sports and sustainable development. And we have a veteran from the field of Indian Navy, veteran from the field of sports, not only nationally, but internationally with us from the armed sports. He has been our mentor, guide, and senior person associated since the last few months, being a very strong observer and also being our very good well-wisher guide. So we are very honored to have your presence. Mr. Bimal Kumar Chanda, and I request Mr. Madan to kindly briefly introduce him, and we would request sir to share his remarks, observations, and worldview of sports and sustainable development, given the kind of long-standing experience that he has. Over to you, Madan ji. Thank you.
Yeah, hello, good evening. Okay. Is it okay now? Hello. Is it fine?
Yes, sir, it is fine. There is some echo. This is coming.
Okay.
Madanji, you just take one system only. You joined through two systems.
1 second, ma'am. Okay. Am I fine now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank
Yes,
you
sir.
very much. I think there is something going. 1 second. Hello. 1 second, please. Hello. Can you hear me, ma'am?
Sir, it is absolutely clear. Please go ahead.
Yeah, please. Good evening, everyone. I have the honor on behalf of TSCI to introduce our illustrious Captain Bimal Kumar Chanda, a highly decorated Army veteran. And I had, in the meantime, I did go through a bit of a little history on Captain Bimal. He's actually proved himself to be where he is today, and done wonders in the field of sports right from the very beginning. Captain Chanda started his sporting career in 1952, even before, far before I was even born. And it's a privilege introducing him today. And entered the boxing and weightlifting arena in 1958. In 1964, he joined the Indian Navy and actively participated on the front line during the 1965 Indo-Pak War. Later in 65, he went on to establish a new record in weightlifting, which helped in his getting selected in the service team and remained so till 1972. A no small feat, you see. A proud moment in the life of Captain Chanda came in 1972 when he received war medals and war stars from the Honorable President of India. Besides, a V Chakra were presented to his ship's captain on behalf of all on board INS Rajput. His last coasting ship was sinking PNS Ghazi, Pakistan submarine in the 1971 war. The going got better as in 1977 he participated in armed sport Panjal Lagana, and I went and checked out what all this meant. It was really heartening to note that it requires a lot of strength, a presence of mind, and dedication to be able to participate in this particular sport. The moment you lose a little bit of your concentration and you lose the match. And won the gold medal in the State and Eastern India Championships, besides the silver medal in International Championship held in Perth, Australia in 1980. Excellent, superb, sir. He has been a national and international master referee in armed sports since 1980. Besides Indian Powerlifting Federation, Yoga, India and World Strength Lifting Federation, and many other sports. I remain so till date. It's a moment of pride for all of us here today. Again, in 2013, he won a gold medal in World Armed Sport Championships, Ultra Masters category, and proudly so. His name appears in the Hall of Fame 1988 awardee in armed sport and strength lifting, and he is the president of Indian Armed Sports Federation from 1990 till date. He has represented India in more than 40 countries and a recipient of National Award 2019 and This is a lifetime achievement award. I think we should all give him a great clap for this. Though 77, he arduously continues his sporting endeavor like never before. The fire in the belly refuses to let up, and he continues in his quest for higher goals, setting an example for the youngsters of today. And welcome, sir. It's our pleasure, honor to have you amongst us today. It'll be great listening to you. Please, sir.
Vimal sir, kindly
Yes, sir.
unmute yourself.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Dr. Madan, for giving me a introduction, beautiful introduction. Really, I don't know whether I am capable of that or not, but anyway, it's really a great pleasure for me to be with you. Just say honorable that today I have been invited as a chief guest of this beautiful sports platform. And I want to tell you that, yes, that Mr. Sanjeev Kapoor, who brought me in this platform, yes, I will really ever grateful to him. Now, Dr. Mona Nargalola, she gave me a chance to become a chief guest. So, see, it is a very beautiful platform, what I have observed for the last 2 months. And Dr. Sunita Pachar, Dr. Anil Jaggi, Dr. Sudhir Salunke, all this, Dr. Devendra Arora, and the Dr. Rahul Sharma, who just ended his beautiful speech before us about the sports and all. So it is a great pleasure for me to be with you, because I would like to mix up with the people. See, in the world we are having about 800 crores people, but who knows whom? But sports is the main platform which can bring everybody in one place. So what Mr. Dr. Rahul Sharma, he told that, yes, this is the platform that we are having the 17 goals. So really, I will tell you that, yes, the sports, the last 70 years I'm associated with the sports. So what I have seen, that if I say that the sports persons are the really a disciplined persons, so next to the armed forces personnel, so one will be easily marked if a sportsman passes by anybody's side. So naturally, that is a good thing, that a sportsman should have the discipline, and they are always said that, yes, we are really like the sports persons. The sports in that our Dr. Rahul Sharma, he described about the sports and all. See, I know that, yes, sports can be used for the platform to speak out the realization of human right. Yes, that is there. And we should not forget that this is the only platform ensure healthy lives and promote well-being for all at all ages, especially the retired senior persons. Because I am the retired person, I'll tell you what we the people after retirement, what we are doing. We are just sitting quietly and all. I want to tell that I want to send this message to everyone, the all retired persons, that yes, they should engage themselves with the sports. It is not that, yes, you have to be certain sports and all, any sports. So that will give you the leisure time to pass, how to mix up with the people, and you will never feel that, yes, you are alone. So that is why that sports makes the man in a good way, that it is also a productive university, that, yes, industry, you can say, that ability to speak, ability to hear. So promote this game everywhere. The sports program should be always be given. So the priority for the sports, that should be the first for our government. They should see that, yes, the sports persons are getting their what they actually needed. And see, in our time, when we started the sports, that time we used to run barefooted. There was no shoe, nothing was there. So now everything changed. The world scenario, sports scenario has been changed. So naturally, this sports program that can promote personal well-being and encourage social inclusion. So naturally, the sports important that platform speak out for the realization of human right. So naturally, I want to tell everybody, want to send everybody that yes, there should be a equal gender. That is, there should be equality in the gender. That the women should not be left behind. So they are also having the same quality which we are having the men sports persons. So naturally, so ensure healthy lives and promote being. So naturally, we all will try our best to promote the sports, and all sportsmen should be honored. So that should be the main motto. So I am really grateful to all of you for being with us, and I have been just past my time with you. So it is a very great pleasure for me. Thank you all. And it is my gratitude to all guests of honor and all members who have joined this thing, that our sustainable development goals, and the members of the our TSCI. Thank you very much for being with us.
Thank you so much, sir. And very important message by your chief guest remarks that we have had, that discipline is the most important factor that we learn from sports person, from the field of sports, and everything that we do, coupled with the determination and dedication in whatever field we are into, for excellence and for contributions to that field. So several other inputs we will be having with the series of leadership talk sessions set on from now. And as I said, coming to the end part of the third eye, the third angle that we've talked about, from Unmesh to Nimesh, it is the contemplation part. What we see as open eyes and what we see from the third eye. And it is the third eye perspective that we look forward with this leadership talk series, which is not only a source of inspiration for institutional capacity building, but where we all come forward, we all discuss these issues and encourage local development organizations, local government authorities, and work closely with the corporate as well as government authorities. Thank you so much, sir, for your gracious presence. And I also thank Dr. Madan for doing the honor and for the very lucid introduction with this brilliant articulation and introducing our chief guest. Thank you so much. And we look forward for your continued support. I now request Dr. Sunita to quickly have a round of interaction to the other esteemed participants whom we have in open interactions for quick 5 minutes, respecting the time and being disciplined with respect to the time that we have, 7 to 8. And once again, a big thanks to all the esteemed dignitaries. We have a few more announcements to make in terms of coming up with a publication where we will have the active participation of various dignitaries associated with us, and also in terms of wider disseminations to the ongoing discussions in terms of coming up with some constructive role through either a magazine or maybe a publication which connects sports and sustainable development goals. Myself and Dr. Sunita, along with Sudhir Solanke ji, will be shortly announcing it in the coming up leadership talk sessions as well as other panel discussions. And I request Dr. Sunita to have a quick word with the other participants before we close the session. Thank you so much, our guest of honor, keynote speaker, and the chief guest for the day, for all your inputs in the session. And we look forward to working with more sincerity, dedication, and the tempo and zeal that is required to take this mission ahead. Thank you, one and all. Over to you, Dr. Sunita, for the last 10 minutes and the wrap up.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dr. Mona. Wonderful session and sharing from all our distinguished speakers and panelists and other members. Yes, so as Rahul ji discussed that 17 SDG, well, this was wonderful sharing from him, Dr. Bimal Kumar Chanda ji, Sanjeev ji. So we got a lot of information and other things about SDGs and other parameters also. So the main important thing from the SDG is leaving no one behind. So that fits on TCS India also. Let's explore from our members, leaving no one behind. Dr. Mona, what do you suggest?
Yes, exactly. In terms of the leadership, the tone set by Mr. Sanjeev Kapoor, with leadership comes the crown, and with the crown comes the responsibility. So it is the crown for namesake. It is the responsibility, and rightly put by all the keynote speakers, that leaders' responsibility is creating more leaders. And when I say leaders, it is institutional leadership building. And with that essence of leadership and a wonderful leader with us, a young dynamic leader, I would say, in terms of a subject expert, hats off to the contribution of Dr. Rahul Sharma in terms of entrepreneurship, his personal journey, and the kind of contributions that he has been taking to promote not only health and fitness as one end. It is said that if you don't want to excel in any field, all you need to do is just bend down 50 times, in the words of Asian marathon champion Dr. Godara. Just keep touching your feet 50 times a day, and you will be health and fit all throughout your life. But hardly do we do this. So I agree with you, Dr. Sunita.
Yes, and Dr. Mona, I think we covered everything. Right now, we do have Sarika with us. She always come up like for CSR, for SDGs. So Sarika, if you are there, you can like unmute yourself or you can join us.
We request, all the participants one by one to have a round of
either it's okay. She is that first time she entered in this sports collaborative discussion. Actually, she used to come in CSR and SDG talks, which we have earlier. Yeah. I think we covered all, like we all are the members. Sudhir ji is there, Rahul ji, everything we discussed and shared. Yes, so like we have to sum up now. That's all for this session. Stay tuned with us for next information and for the next session. And the main sports collaborative mission, objective and purpose is we are just joining the NGO industry, the government sector and the different sports academies and different coaches, different players, so that we can come or we can connect the dots, which are the gap areas basically in the sports industry. So that way we need to connect. And with that SDG, all 17 SDG, as Rahul rightly said, we explained many examples, he given those examples, and that's very fit rightly about the players, that how they people can use for the SDGs, how they can contribute for the social development and growth for the country. So that's absolutely right. And now just let's promote Khelega India, Fit India, Mission Shakti. Many things are there, many campaigns are there. So let's promote this and we can contribute a little bit, I hope, for our country. So let's make India proud. And I hope we all must join our hands together to make this platform a vibrant one, which can address like 2-3 gap areas where we all can contribute. So we welcome all of you. Please feel free to share your inputs or your suggestions, your recommendations, so that we can work on those areas and we can go ahead all with your contributions and kind support. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you and great evening and great weekend ahead. Thank you all.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
Thank you very
want
much.
to add one little
Good night,
bit.
everyone. Take care.
Good night.
Happy
Bye-bye.
weekend. Bye-bye.
Okay, thank you. Thanks to all.
Bye.